guys, super excited today. I have Jason Levy here from Around My Town. He is here because I reached out to him about our Throne of Terrors event today. So we're literally staring at coffins and skeletons and things like that.
I love it.
But however, I was super excited and super stoked to talk to him because I see his stuff everywhere around my town, which is kind of the point.
Yeah, exactly.
So talk to me a little bit. The first question I had for you, we were talking before the camera started rolling, of how did you get started in this endeavor, and where do you see it going? Where do you want it to go?
Well, I've been in advertising and marketing for many, many years. I've worked at agencies, small, medium, and large. I worked at Universal Orlando in a bigger, larger scale, holiday and vacations as well, in leadership roles. So the marketing and advertising background is very extensive. So post-COVID, or around that time, I had lost one of my full-time jobs, and I said, I need to find a backup at some point, and we figure out how I could help the family. I mean, I have 2 kids, family, just bought a house. So I looked at it and said, what else I could do. So living in St. Cloud for now going on three and a half years, and in Orlando for over 5. I've always been around town, in and out of the different events, and absolutely love this town. That's why we moved. It was awesome, and noticed that there wasn't anything similar. There's a couple random, little, but there's not that direct magazine publication, local advertising, local marketing feel. So that's essentially, how I started it. And I said, what, let's just build it and see where it goes. And now everybody loves it. You have calendar, you have puzzles, we have business listings, and then it's evolved into more of a local marketing feel. So it's not just the magazine. It's now kind of local marketing. So local SEO, local reviews, reputation management, social media, anything to really help the community as a whole. From the event standpoint, from the local vendors and contractors, realtors, brokers, so on and so forth, just to really expand and highlight a lot of the different markets and events. So I'm looking for it to continue growing, and then hopefully, we'll be able to be, a marketing hub, so to speak, for everyone locally.
Okay, so 2 follow-up questions for what you just said. One, I heard you say you definitely wanted to expand and you wanted to grow. Do you have a short-term and a long-term goal? And then also touch on me real quick about, you said you love St. Cloud. So please, as an outsider coming in, what do you love about St. Cloud?
Well, I'll answer that first question. So really the small town feel, even though it's still growing and it's going to grow, it's still that small town feel. Like you go up and down downtown St. Cloud and lakefront, it still feels homey, it still feels, and it's nice. The fishing, the lakes, it's just very, very nice and beautiful. All the events still feel homey. It's not like Lake Nona or Orlando, where the events just feel like party atmosphere and music and just a lot of people. This is more still local feel, farmers markets. Right. Even the haunted house that I went to, or haunted creek, down in Canoe Creek, it felt homey, right? It was just that you could tell it's just the local kids just trying to scare people. Yeah. And I love it. That's what I love about it.
Put a lot of heart into it.
That's what it is.
A lot of elbow grease, a lot of heart, a lot of work.
Exactly. Like, coming from Miami, like the productions out there, the haunted houses, everything feels just overly, like everybody wants to be like, Halloween Horror Nights, or everyone wants a party town like Miami. Like it's not about that, right? Just bring it down, and that's what I love about it. As far as the other question, I don't have a full 3 to 5 year plan for Around My Town. Okay. The really goal is to get local marketing, just to be a local marketing hub. We do have the publication, but we want to focus on helping whatever I can out. Like, not many people focus on local SEO and organic search. They don't know, I'm not on the 2nd or 3rd page, I didn't even know that. Or why do I have 4 stars? I should be at 5 stars. Why do I only have 10 reviews? Why do I'm not getting enough social media engagement? All of these questions are being asked, and they just don't know the answer. So I want to be able to expand to the point where I would be the local marketing expert, local marketing hub to anything marketing for the local community.
I think that's needed. I mean, I obviously am a realtor, and I work around a lot of people that are video reputation, and people get us and see us through video nowadays.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If you're not video marketing, it's very hard to get out there. The small town feel kind of helps that. Getting involved with your community helps that. But I think what you're doing is crucial for a lot of places and a lot of businesses that also want to grow along with the town. Right. Getting themselves out there, advertising, things like that, and doing it kind of the old-fashioned way, which I like.
Yeah.
Even an old-fashioned approach to a new way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like it also, like, with the Google search, for example, not many people kind of really focus on that for local, right? You have the search engine, for larger public, larger community, businesses and stuff like that. But for the local feel, like I want to find my local contractor. I want to find my local vendors. I have a client that does garage doors, that he does garage door repair. And the SEO is not the greatest. Outside of his website, right? We're trying to look at ways to help improve. So we're starting to do a full-blown strategy on doing blog posts, content, anything that could help the search engine outside of the website, obviously that's known, but everything else to help the garage door repair, garage door sales. And that's important. And then that coupled with reviews and social media.
So one big word that you mentioned there that seems to encapsulate St. Cloud and Central Florida right now, and any entrepreneur in this industry and in this market, is growth. So, I mean, I know you're only 4 years into St. Cloud. I've witnessed it grow a lot more than most people. I remember when Lake Nona was cow pasture, and there was nothing on that road. But how do you feel about the growth in St. Cloud? Even from when you started, what you've seen, how do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, I have mixed feelings about the growth because mainly of the infrastructure. I mean, there's some components there, like the street, the traffic. There's things that we're putting the cart before the horse. There's a couple things that I feel about that. However, the growth itself of the different companies and the different markets and the events, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Like we're trying to get every week to have something to do, a small town feel, and we're still growing every single day. The infrastructure component, like that needs improvement for sure.
I don't know of any place ever that was infrastructure before growth, and I think if they were and they kind of planned on a big growth, it never happened.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I get there has to be a give and take there too. Because that whole Nolte Road, going on to that's going to be insane in the next couple of years. But I mean, all in all, though, I see the point, I see the goal, and we're trying to do that. So the way I kind of tie in around my town is really just anything that you could need as far as when you move into your new home. If you need a vendor, if you need a contractor, if you need a landscaper, just go to that publication, that website, that social media, and then you'll just find it. Events, anything related to this town, and then eventually, going to other towns as well. It would be, what do you need for that town? So the growth is obviously going to help me because that ultimately is the goal.
Yeah, and clearly, like I did, and I'm sure many people in my situation, you need people to come to you, right? And that's a good thing. Like obviously, you're out there, you're having people notice that you're out there, and they're like, I need to call this person. That was my thought process. Is like, all right. This obviously makes sense. Around my town is so small town feel, just in the name. I'm like, this completely makes sense. A question I ask everyone when they're in here, try not to be completely biased, okay? What are some of your favorite local spots around town and some events you really, you're excited about and you like to participate in?
I mean, you gotta love Krabby Bill's, or is it Krabby's now? Is that they changed it to Krabby's?
Oh, I don't know. Well, for us originals, it'll always be the original name. So.
Oh, yeah. Catfish place. I mean, they're always good. But Krabby Bill's, the main thing is you're on the lake. You're at the lakefront, and it's always nice. So I love going there. Events. There's always so many fun things to do this weekend. And there's Hastings Ranch, and the fall time. We have your trunk or treat evening. Event this evening. But it's just so many things, and I can't even keep up. Like I'm gonna need to hire a few more people to help me out with everything going on.
Right.
But the whole goal, there's a lot. As far as being biased, I don't know. There's so many places. It's so good.
Yeah.
Now I'm just looking forward to a little bit closer to home. Like I was telling you before the interview, is so I could go, walking distance for a quick bite or drink. So on this side, more West St. Cloud, for it to start picking back up with restaurants and bars and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's coming. I mean, a lot of things right now are really focused on the warehouse spaces and things like that. But I mean, there's an explosion in commercial. I think there's going to be, as a realtor, I see a lot more explosion in commercial coming, especially when they edit the turnpike entrance. And that expands, and then trucks can start coming in, and I mean, it's going to annoy all of the locals and all of the people that have been here forever. But hey, if you want to leave, I know a guy. I always say, and I've said this on film a lot, would be, the way I combat that, like, oh, it's getting too big, it's getting too this, it's getting too that, is just leaning into it and reinvesting into the town. Because if you have an impact in the town, you kind of have a legacy in the town then, and you're helping it grow, and you're helping facilitate where it's going to go.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, I think that's what you're trying to do.
It's
too.
exactly what I'm
To your favorite spots in St. Cloud and things like that. And you kind of touched on a little bit of you want a little more restaurants on this side and closer to you.
Yep.
What do you think, without kind of ruining that small town feel, what do you think St. Cloud needs more of?
I mean, it's risking because you don't know how much development is good development, right? I mean, me personally, and I'm coming from Miami as well, it's very hesitant because I don't want it to become like Miami, where it's every corner there's something. And frankly speaking, the way Lake Nona is, it's getting there, and it's
Right,
almost too much. Where it's like there's so many places, so many things that it's overcrowded, and everything is always packed because everyone wants to go there.
Right.
So I'm hesitant to take that path and get like something in every corner or in every block. But the further we go west and closer to Harmony, I'd like to have at least one or two go-to spots. Either a bar or lounge or even another cigar shop, things like that to hang out. Another restaurant or two, maybe something that's more chain. Maybe like a Cheesecake Factory would be cool. On the way to Harmony. Things like that, because there's nothing. Like literally, if you want to grab a bite to eat or grab a quick beer or something, from where I live, like in this area, West St. Cloud area, there's not much. So that's what I'm hoping for. And then from the event standpoint, I think we're doing a fantastic job. From the events, there's a lot of different events happening every single weekend, and I think people are doing a fantastic job. So one of the things that I wanted to do too, that I forgot to mention, is co-host and host events as well as part of community stuff.
Sure.
Because I think that's a good way to get the community together. It's a good way to get the vendors and contractors and people that are wanting to be part of the events,
Right.
and then it gets my name out there more because at the end of the day, around my town, getting people together, community. So that's in the works
Okay.
and in the process. But I'd love to at least do one per quarter or something like that.
So
now.
you hosting a big event in the around my town name.
Hence big, right? So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
start small first.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Absolutely. So that's the goal, right?
Okay.
And closer to Harmony, wherever there's space.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so something you might not know. I don't know if we'll keep this in or not, but we might because not a lot of people know this. So, me being from St. Cloud, I do have a little bit of knowledge on that expansion. So I always tell people, especially being in real estate now, is it's going to more than likely expand south before it expands, which would be east towards Melbourne.
Okay.
Reason being, and I think they've come off of it some a little bit, but all of the vacant land, at least for as far back as I remember, and still now, all of the vacant land past Harmony up until you reach Brevard County and even
Right.
into Brevard County is Mormon-owned land. And they have not come off of it, and they have not sold it. They've owned it for years.
Wow.
So, of course, more people here means more money that developers can throw at them. And I don't know what the future entails. I have no clue. However, in my estimation, if that still doesn't happen because they don't want to come off that land, I mean, you have Sunbridge Lane that's going to go parallel to North
Yes,
Lucy,
yep.
and all of those homes over there. But if you can't expand any more than Nova Road, I feel like the expansion is going to come south, which means more people around Alligator Lake, more
Yeah.
people off Hickory Tree Road,
Yep.
more people going towards Kenansville.
Yeah.
And now people, I think, see that big picture and are buying a lot of land in Kenansville to connect Canoe Creek Road and St. Cloud. So at least in my estimation, I would love to see it expand east because it gives you easier access to the beach. I just foresee, however, it going more south before it goes east.
Okay. And it's already doing that. There's a couple developments out there. I mean, it's all residential, but
Right.
I'm sure commercial will be down there.
Yeah, and I feel like it might get a little cramped with the residential headed
Yeah,
down that road
yeah.
because Harmony's already huge. I remember when Harmony started going up, and we thought, oh, this is gonna take off, and there's gonna be houses all over the place, and it's still taking it years and
Yeah,
years
yeah.
and years to get to the point it's at now.
Yeah.
Second question for you. Not in St. Cloud. I know you're in a couple of other towns, so if anybody else sees this that's in those towns and clearly you want to expand, I mean, you're more local to St. Cloud, which
Yes.
makes sense. It's more your hometown. But what other towns are you in, and what kind of impact do you want to have in those towns? Do you want
Sure.
to start here, grassroots, and grow, and then jump from town to town, or what's your
So
plan?
So that is the goal, right? Right now, I am in 3 towns, right? So the publication is getting distributed in St. Cloud primarily. About 75% of my distribution happens in St. Cloud, but then we have Lake Nona and we have Kissimmee. Obviously, those are the the ones that are closer. The idea would be to eventually go, more east, more northeast, into Melbourne, into Avalon Park, towards Winter Garden. So the goal is to have something in those areas equivalent to what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Obviously, the more time, there's a lot more involved. I need to be more, because you reached out in essence because you've just kept on hearing about us and me, right? So for me to have that same kind of response, I would need to do that in other parts. So I rather perfect and get like an SOP, so to speak, for St. Cloud, and then do a little bit of sprinkle in these other towns, and then go full blown when I have this SOP.
Right, and obviously that's a great idea. I'm always like, because I've lived the life where I juggle 10 plates and give 10% to everything instead of 50 to 75 to 100. And I realize that it just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It does not work. So I think that's the best way to handle it. Just coming from me is, 80% into St. Cloud, grassroots, grow it, get as many people involved as you can, and then build from there. And then once you can have a structure of like, this is what I built over there, this is what I want to do for you guys, and even it'll be interesting, and I can't wait to see it long term, because it's so funny that culturally, even though these places are so close, they're also very different.
They're all very different. Very different. Yep.
So, I mean, building on that is obviously going to be an endeavor in and of itself, but I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And I don't doubt that you'll get there. You're already here. You're already on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it too. I mean, at least if I could perfect here, and then just expand here as well, that would help.
Have kind of both a local buzz and a local following with, you mentioned the garage repair earlier, and a couple other things and a couple other people that you advertise. So I want to throw out at you, and unfortunately you can't do it because of schedule conflicts. Right. Which is awful, and I don't like that. I'm looking for other chapters for you, but they're so difficult because either they're travel or they're Zoom, and you don't get the same results. But I want to talk about BNI Cumulus because we are completely on the same page with you when it comes to growth, when it comes to getting people together to help build an infrastructure and a backbone. So BNI Cumulus, for those that don't know, is a chapter for Business Network International that has been spearheaded and launched here in St. Cloud for local businesses. BNI is different than other leads groups as it only allows one person per profession into the room. And you meet every week and you have goals you have to hit where you're not in the room, which is 4 referrals a month, things like that that you have to be passing. You have to be accountable for attendance, referrals, and the relationships to people in the room. Like, you're really building a team around you. So I wanted to extend the invite. I know I've extended the invite to you and you can't make it, but speak on how that would be advantageous a little bit to people if you don't mind.
I mean, first off, I'll say that I'm going to try my very best.
Okay.
That's going to be a plan for 2024. We'll see how we shake it out. So I will make my effort definitely to try to make it. But it's a huge benefit. I'm also part of another St. Cloud Leads group that happens to meet a little earlier, so that's why it works out schedule-wise. But it's always important because it also is expansion of community. You work collaboratively as an extension to your team, extension to your marketing team, your community team, and you're really working together. So all of the clients that I've worked with, from the lawyers, the brokers, the realtors, the garage door gentleman, which I'll reach out to you in a little bit too. All these folks could come and benefit from it because to the 4 referrals a month. I mean, imagine having 4 referrals, even if 2 of them become clients. I mean, that's 2 new clients every single month. So being a part of it, I think it's huge.
Yes.
And I will recommend it to anybody.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Appreciate the shout out, but it's in line with everything. It's not like these are my people in that room, but with you coming on board and other people that see the benefit of it, like. We're not doing it for us. That's the whole point of the BNI is, our number one philosophy is giver's gain. We're trying to do this to give to the community. It's like the event we're about to hold tonight, is we could be marketing this like crazy, and maybe we should. Maybe next year we will market it a little better, have a different event. But at the core of it, it's not for me. It's not for us. It's for everyone else. And I always want to bring what I think is lacking into the community and into rooms and into that kind of infrastructure. You know what I mean? But BNI Cumulus, I feel me starting it and everyone in that room is on the same page. And I know you're on the same page. 100%. So anything we can do to help each other is great. And I appreciate your time and I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.